Welcome back to the channel, guys. Yiannis, Christodoulou, 2019 European and National Aquathlon champion in my age group. And you guys have actually asked me to do some videos on how to get started on aquathlons. So here is my video on that. Onto the video, guys. So this is about how to get started with aquathlons. So firstly, what is an aquathlon? So an aquathlon is a swim followed by a run. Now there's various different types of distances. So you could have 400-meter swim, 750-meter swim, or 1,000-meter swim, followed by a 2.5k run, 5k run, 10k run, so on. There's so many distances. So if you're thinking about doing a national championships or want to qualify for your age group, the distances are 750-meter swim followed by a 5k run or a 1k swim for the world championships. Now, if you're like me, when I first looked into aquathlons, I was scared and I was nervous because I had so many injuries on the bike, so I stopped doing triathlons in 2013. I only did 2 anyway, and then in about 2015 I was thinking about it, and that's when I got into aquathlons and saw, well, maybe I should give it a go. It's only 2 disciplines, and you can use it as a stepping stone to get back into triathlon or get into triathlon, and that's what I have done. Now, you can decide what you want to do, really. Firstly, it depends if you want to swim indoors or open doors. Now, the pool swims, you do have races in the pools, and they tend to be 400 meters. Some of them do longer. Now, the thing with the pool is, if you're like me, I don't tumble turn. Yeah, shocking, I don't tumble turn, so I'm in a huge disadvantage. But if you're a good swimmer, you're in a massive advantage in the pool. Now, with the pool swims, it's more of a time trial. So you predict your times, and they go with 30 seconds intervals, roughly, and then you go one by one. So it's a time trial. So you don't really know who you're racing or where you are. So bear that in mind if you do a pool-based aquathlon. Now, they go through the summer mainly, or they start from the spring and they finish off in the summer. You do get winter ones. I've never done a winter one, probably a bit too cold, and especially coming out of the pool, you'll be freezing, but they do them. Now, when you decide to do with the pool swim, the aquathlons, the problem is that, as I said, you don't know who you're racing, and that's what I don't like. I like to know where I am, and probably the same for you guys. Like, you want to know where you are and how well you're doing. I don't like to finish the race and then wait around and see where you are. I like to know where I am. So that's why I prefer doing outdoor aquathlons. So now we move on to outdoor aquathlons, which are the open water swims. So they're either sea swims or they're in the lakes, for example. So when you're looking at them, you've got to decide what you need. So do you need a wetsuit? Now, you won't need a wetsuit if you're pool swimming, but you will need a wetsuit depending on the temperature in the lake and the sea. Now, I would always wear a wetsuit, whether you can get entry ones, whether you're able to, if you're allowed to wear them, or if you're not, if it's too hot. Normally in the UK, it's not too hot, so you can actually wear them most of the time. Now, the reason I wear them is because not only does it make you more buoyant, it's safer, but also you can swim faster with it. So it gives you a bit of an advantage compared to the people that can actually swim well. So you do get an advantage. And I will always wear my wetsuit regardlessly, because I know when you can get it off in a few seconds. So you've got to look at if you need a wetsuit for it. So I say invest in a wetsuit. Now, when you do an open water swim, a race, unlike a pool-based race where you go one after the other and you might wear a swim costume or a tri-suit, you will need to make sure you've got something underneath your wetsuit. Now, when you do these outdoors, my advice would be, if it's your first time and you're a bit worried about actually swimming, well, in a group of people or race. Now, if you can't practice with people, my advice was don't get in the middle, because it can get a bit brutal, like people swimming and knocking you over the place. So if you don't like that, it's best to stay on the side and just take your own time. So stay out of the way, take your own time. And now the good thing about actually racing in outdoors is you know where you are. So when you come out into transition, you come into run, you know that you're actually racing or you're competing against these people at the same time. Whereas if you're in the pool and you're a pool-based race and you come out, obviously you don't know where you are, because you could be overtaking people that were really good swimmers so far, but far in front, if you get the drift. So what other things, what things do you need to actually get started? So I just talked about the actual swimming wise and stuff like that. So obviously you need trainers, so you need running trainers. You need, depending if you do, well, you need a tri-suit, I'd say, because if you don't, depending what you're doing about the wetsuit, if you're doing indoors or outdoors aquathlon, but you probably end up getting hooked and end up buying a wetsuit anyway. So buy an entry-level wetsuit, but you need a tri-suit because purely because when you come out, you don't want to get changed and put running gear on and stuff, so you lose a lot of time. Now, a good investment is a belt, so a tri-belt where you just hook around you, and because you need to put the number on, and you don't want to be either coming out into transition, pinning the number, I know you wouldn't, but or putting a top on over the top with the number on, which when you're soaking wet is going to just glue to you and it's hard to get on. So you want to look at a tri-belt. It's easy, you come in, you can even put it underneath your wetsuit. I wouldn't advise in the pool base to actually wear it because it will drag on the pool races. So you come into transition and you just put it on, and then you put your trainers on, and then you're off to go. So you need trainers, wetsuit, tri-suit, running, the tri-belt. Now you can use socks or in transition, or you don't have to use socks. I don't use socks. It's a lot quicker not to use socks. So you might need some baby powder to put inside your shoes. So when you come into the water, come out the water, sorry, you can slip your feet in, and of course they dry your feet. And if you're only running 5k, you don't really need socks, and it's a lot quicker. So they're the sort of things you really need, ideally, to get started. Other things like, well, obviously goggles. You need goggles. Yep, so I forgot about that. Goggles. They normally provide you swim hats. So with other things like the running watches and technology like that, you can. I use them, but obviously it's not a must. So you don't have to use them in the race. So I just gave you the essentials. Now, if it's sunny, you might want to wear sunglasses. So things like, these are just like the basics that you would need to just get started. Now, when you come into transition, you're going to feel a bit wobbly like that, a bit dizzy. So that's normal. I say practice transition, and that'll be later on for another video. I'll show you how to do transition, how to take your wetsuit off, etc. You come in transition, you put trainers on, and then you go for the run. And it's a very enjoyable sport. I've enjoyed it. I've had great success, and you never know where the path will lead you. Now, what you've got to bear in mind is it is multi-sport, and what you've got to bear in mind as well is that a lot of people, especially runners, they think, they look at the times and they say, oh, I thought like people said to me, I thought you can run quicker. Yeah, no, I can run quicker, but you're never going to run a purely say a 5k PB after a really hard swim, because you're actually you're going hard. So bear that in mind, that when you come onto the run, it won't be as fast as you think it will be, because your heart rate will be a lot higher. You'll be in the red zone already. And you've used a lot of energy. So just bear that in mind when you're doing aquathlons. So that's how to get started with aquathlons. As I said, it's an enjoyable sport. I prefer the outdoors. They're more fun. You've got the open waters races, and the lakes are good fun. They obviously get a lot warmer than the sea. The sea is good fun because you can't predict the tides and stuff. And this is what catches a lot of people out in the sea, is because they train a lot in the pool or in the lake, and when they come into the sea they struggle because they're not used to the waves, and because the waves are unpredictable. So it's your breathing that really matters here. So if you do 3 strokes and then you're breathing, that might not be the case when you've got a wave hitting your face and you can't breathe that particular side. So that's something you need to bear in mind. They're pretty safe because they've got a lot of lifeguards around, and they go around their canoes and the paddleboards. And if you do get into trouble, all you do is just lean on your back on your wetsuit because you float, and you just put your hand up and they will come and sort you out. I say don't panic, just take your own time. And even in the run, when you get into the run, just build into it, and then likelihood you might feel a bit dizzy and you might struggle for a few minutes, and then a bit like triathlon, but obviously you don't get the jelly legs, and then you come in and then you start your body start recovering once you ran for a few minutes. So I hope this has been helpful. There'll be more aquathlon tips, as I mentioned before. Please subscribe to the channel, and thanks for watching.
And the champions of this age group category, Henrietta Parasatic and Yiannis Christodoulou, Christodoulou.